Bonjour YouTube, welcome back to our channel. Today we are taking you to Caen. So, on y va.
So I'm having coffee, waiting for Sinan to come. He is finished with work and he's rushing. He has like 40 minutes to come here. It's really bright today but cold. And apparently the train ride is around 2 hours. Or maybe 2 hours and 5 minutes, something like that. I'm really excited about it because I've been trying to go to Caen for the past 3 years. We've been trying to go there, but the tickets were always so expensive. But there was a promo and we decided why not? Because honestly, the tickets to Caen, for some reason, they're super expensive. I don't know why. They're much more expensive than the other cities around. No idea.
Anyway, don't record me. I'm hungry.
Small.
I'm hungry, don't record me.
Are you excited?
No, not at all.
He's not excited. Apparently, he's been to Normandy so many times that he's not excited anymore. Yeah, he's just hungry. That's it. He'll be excited when we arrive. It's always like that. When we arrive, he'll be like, ah!
We checked in at our Airbnb and decided to roam around the streets.
Now, why did we choose to come to Caen in the first place? You see, this city may not be on the top of the list for many when they travel to France, but it's actually much more significant and important than one may think.
This year in particular, Caen celebrates its millennial anniversary, and although it might not look that old when you first arrive, there are some bits of it that still remain from that time. In fact, the city draws its roots from the Gallo-Roman era, although it really began to develop in the Middle Ages.
One of the striking things about Caen is its multifaceted architecture. Indeed, over 60% of the city was wiped out in the 1944 bombardment. The buildings that survived make Caen into a historic tapestry spanning centuries, hiding secrets and stories of the past. The said bombardment was the Battle of Caen, which took place from June to August 1944, with the Allies having the objective to seize the city. It was one of the key episodes of the Normandy campaign. Given its strategic geographic position, Caen, as in the medieval times, was a key city to control.
We mustn't forget that this city is also a mere 50 km away from the Normandy beaches. The initial plan provided for its capture on the evening of D-Day, but the German defenses resisted fiercely and turned the conquest of Caen into a prolonged and costly battle.
During the operations Goodwill and Atlantic between July 18th and 20th alone, an offensive was carried out by the Allies with 740 tanks and 6,000 tons of bombs dropped, eventually resulting in the liberation of Caen. Over 30,000 Allied soldiers and about 3,000 locals lost their lives during the battle, while more than a third of the city's buildings were destroyed. It's incredible to see Caen today, fully aware that it has seen some seriously significant events and prevailed. So we're walking around the streets in the morning. It's so good because there's no one, almost no one. If you want to see the city, pretty much in every city I would say, it's always best to walk on the streets in the morning because you basically have very little amount of people around. Sinan keeps on hiding. Why are you hiding yourself from the camera? He's hiding this. It's so beautiful. I was gonna say that this city, what I love about it is that it's like it's patched up. You've got the really old buildings and then you've got new ones in between, so you can see which one was bombarded and which one wasn't, you know, which one was rebuilt, renovated, and which one had to be completely rebuilt from nothing.
You can see the difference between this city and Le Havre. Le Havre was completely different actually.
Well, because that city
The
was
style
completely
was
wiped out.
We were strongly bombarded during the war, but you can still see the old buildings. Now let's rewind about 1000 years back. Caen owes a lot to Guillaume le Conqueror, or, as in English, William the Conqueror, who chose this city as one of his main residences, hence the construction of the chateau and the two abbeys, which we should visit later.
We will refer to William as Guillaume, as that's how he is referred to in France, so when you visit, it's easier for you to recognize any reference to him. He was born around the year 1027 or 28 in Falaise, a small town south of Caen, and officially for the French, he was an illegitimate son of Duke Robert the Magnificent and a woman named Herleva.
Now, why we specify that he was illegitimate is because for the Franks, a man could only have one wife. However, for the people of Normandy, who originated from the Vikings, it was absolutely fine to have multiple wives.
So to the people of Normandy, Guillaume was not illegitimate, but to Franks, he was. So we just walked into the Abbaye aux Hommes, and we have to come back because the service is going on there, and I really wanted to attend it, but we don't have time. We have to visit so many places, and we're here only until 4 o'clock. We have the time, so we have around 4 hours. 4.5 hours. Ooh, the sunlight. Sinan liked the smell inside the church, but we'll have to come back now. Once the service is over, we'll come back.
It smells so nice.
It's so lovely because it's the second Sunday of Carême. Carême, I think it's Lent in English. Before the Pâques, before the Easter, it's Lent in English, I think. Anyway, it's really lovely. Next. He inherited the Duchy of Normandy at the age of 7 or 8, after the death of his father in 1035. His childhood was marked by power struggles and revolts of Norman barons, but he managed to consolidate his authority with the help of faithful vassals and the King of France, Henri I, after the campaign against the rebels culminating in his victory at the Battle of WWII near Caen.
Under his reign, the city became influential and central for the region.
So before I say anything, I would like to first apologize for my hair. We're in Normandy and my hair is flying everywhere, but I'm gonna cut it soon, so ça va, it's gonna be fine. And anywhere we go, wherever we go, we always try to find Louis XIV, or he comes to us himself. And this time we found a statue of him dressed as a Roman emperor. Tell us what you think. Do you like him as a Roman emperor? Do you like this look? Let us know.
By 1060, Guillaume established his ducal residence and launched the construction of the city's chateau fortress a few years before he became the King of England, after the Battle of Hastings in 1066.
It served as a symbol of his power and a military base. Fun fact, during the Battle of Caen, the Germans used the chateau for retreat and observation of the city. Plus, thanks to its enormous walls, the whole structure withstood the bombings much better than the rest of Caen. The thickness of those walls is absolutely insane. Well, at the time you had to have thick walls like that to stay protected.
Initially, the chateau was built of wood and then reinforced by local stone.
Speaking of the stone, or pierre de Caen, thanks to its clarity, strength and texture, it quickly became popular and was used in constructions of many buildings in and outside of France, including the Tower of London, Canterbury Cathedral, and even St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York, to name a few.
In the Middle Ages, the chateau was enlarged and further reinforced, playing a big role in armed conflicts, notably the 100 Years' War. By the time of Louis XIII, part of the fortress was dismantled to avoid it falling into hands of rebels, and then further dismantled by the locals during the Revolution. By 19th century, the structure was recognized as a historic monument, and today it is home to the Museum of Normandy and the Museum of Fine Arts.
Inaugurated in 1946, the Museum of Normandy is dedicated to the history and heritage of the region. It presents varied collections that trace life in Normandy from prehistoric period to the 20th century. There are archaeological objects such as human remains, tools, pottery and jewelry, testimonies of medieval daily life, as well as exhibitions on the traditions, crafts and cultural evolution of the region.
Across from it is a much more contemporary structure, which is a home to the Caen Museum of Fine Arts. This museum is recognized as one of the most important museums in France for European paintings of the 16th and the 17th centuries, with collections rich in Italian, French, Flemish and Dutch works.
There are also Impressionists, Monet and Baudin, and contemporary works. This museum was initially founded in 1801, but was destroyed in 1944 during the bombings,
then rebuilt and reopened in 1970, hence its contemporary design.
So that was Église Saint-Georges. It's interesting because the first mention of it was in the 11th century. In 19th century, it was turned from église, from the church, to a service building for the army. I don't know, I just wanted to say that every time I go into a church that has been, desacralized, so it's basically no longer a church, it feels strange. It feels like a shell of a building, It's still beautiful, but it just feels like something is missing. It kind of, I don't know, it feels strange. In Rouen, I remember we visited the Museum of Iron, and it's also set in the church, and it is so beautiful. But I don't know, it just feels weird. It feels very strange.
Now, in addition to the chateau, there are two other magnificent and emblematic structures left to us by Guillaume, Abbaye aux Hommes and Abbaye aux Dames.
Both were founded somewhere between the years 1063 and 1066.
We wanted to visit the Abbaye aux Hommes, but unfortunately it was closed on weekends until the start of a high season. But thankfully, its Église Saint-Étienne is open to public, and it's a truly magnificent example of Norman architecture. Guillaume founded this abbey and church to obtain a pardon from the Pope and legitimize his marriage to Mathilde. Work on this church began in 1066, the same year that Guillaume began his conquest of England, and it was solemnly consecrated in 1077 in his presence. Its harmonic facade with its two symmetrical towers have influenced many constructions in Normandy and England.
On September 9, 1087, Guillaume died in Rouen. According to his wishes, his body was transported to Caen to be buried in the Saint-Étienne church, in the heart of the choir. However, his tomb had an eventful fate.
In 1562, during the religious wars, Huguenots looted the abbey and destroyed the funerary monument, dispersing Guillaume's bones, with the exception of a femur, which was placed in a new tomb in 1642, and then again desecrated during the French Revolution. Today, a simple white marble slab from the early 19th century marks the location of his grave.
In the 13th century, the Romanesque choir was redone in the Gothic style, while the towers received tall spires reaching about 80 meters in height. Despite these transformations, the church retained its Romanesque character in the nave and the facade.
The French Revolution drove the monks away to never return, although the Catholic worship was restored back in 1802. The abbey buildings were given to secular use, first as a school in the 19th century, and since 1960, the main town hall. Rushing to the other side of the city, about 2 kilometers away, we made it to l'Abbaye aux Dames.
Dedicated to the Holy Trinity, this abbey was founded by the wife of Guillaume, Mathilde, as a form of atonement and pardon to the church, who initially forbade their marriage due to them being fifth-degree cousins.
Meant for the use of Benedictine nuns, the works on the abbey and the church were supervised personally by Mathilde. The church was consecrated in 1066, a key year marked by the conquest of England by Guillaume. The abbey is a remarkable example of Norman Romanesque architecture, with a more sober facade than that of Saint-Étienne, yet elegant and luminous.
Mathilde died in 1083 and was buried in the choir of this church, under a black marble slab that one can still see today. Unlike Guillaume's tomb, it was better preserved, although the excavations of the 19th century disturbed her remains. We were particularly lucky to be able to descend into the crypt that is still preserved and located right under the choir.
It reminded us of the crypts we visited in Auxerre that are beautifully preserved to our days and are a wonder to the visitors. If you haven't seen our Auxerre episode, we strongly recommend you do. Link in the first comment below. But back to this beautiful crypt. Originally, it was used to display relics venerated by the Benedictine nuns of the abbey, especially those of Saint Nicolas, Saint Gilles, and Saint Etienne. Protestants desecrated these relics in 1562, and whatever remained disappeared with the French Revolution.
If you would like to visit the crypt, you have to do the guided tour provided by the abbey itself. We highly recommend it. When you are in this church, head to the space to the right of the choir and you will find yourself surrounded by the beautiful, slender columns and arches. Look up and you will see a little figure of a man, kind of a wink left by the architect. Although we don't know the architect's name, his signature made it to our day.
As for the rest of the buildings of the abbey, these were remodeled in the 18th century to reflect the classic style that was in line with the time. In general, if you compare the two abbeys, you will see one as far more imposing, aux Hommes, while the other more refined, aux Dames. To this day, they continue to be used differently, one as a townhouse, while the other the council of the region of Normandy.
Having less than an hour left in the city, we passed by the magnificent church of Saint-Pierre or Saint Peter. This is one of the most emblematic buildings in Caen and was built between the 13th and the 16th centuries, revealing a visual history of Norman religious architecture.
Three main styles are present here: Gothic rayonnant, Gothic flamboyant, and Renaissance. Église Saint-Pierre traversed centuries and witnessed many major historic events, including religious conflicts, the Revolution, and the Second World War, which left the structure with major damage done to the nave and partial destruction of the bell tower. The building was rebuilt by 1953, the new organ was constructed in 1997 by J.F. Dupont, and today the church continues to undergo several restorations.
Because it's Sunday, there is no tram that's frequent. We had to either wait 20 minutes or walk to the gare, to the station.
Same amount.
Same amount, 19 minutes. So we decided we might as well walk.
And what if the train gets cancelled at the last minute?
Yeah.
So we don't want to risk it. So we never know. So we rather walk and arrive to Gare on time.
Yeah, and I need a coffee.
Somewhere as well.
I need a coffee. But we've decided that we need to come back to Caen.
Yeah, we didn't have enough time to discover all the things here.
Yeah.
We couldn't go to the beach
Yeah.
and the memorial museum.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we didn't have so much time. And at the same time, today is Sunday. There are only 3 buses to
Yeah.
the memorial museum, so we couldn't risk it.
Yeah.
Because if we missed the bus, there is no way we could go back to Paris.
And plus it's Mercury retrograde, and we believe that we shouldn't take risks with Mercury retrograde and trains and transport and anything like that. So we'll have to come back.
Yeah.
We'll have to come back.
But we did our best.
Yes. So we're on the train. We made it to the train on time. And before we finish this episode, we wanted to share with you something. Yesterday we were walking around and we passed by this boulangerie that's called, what was it called? Le Petit Chou. And apparently they have their own recipe for this really beautiful dessert that we decided to try. It's basically like eclair, but it's not really. The creme is different and the shape is round. And the funniest thing happened because we just first bought 2. And Sinan tried it and I tried it and we loved it so much that we got 4 more. So we had 2 in the morning and 2 now, and we're gonna have it now. So we just wanted to show you guys. And yeah.
It was very light actually.
Yeah.
I was expecting something heavy because of cream, but it turned out to be so light and we decided to get more. Yeah.
So we're gonna have it, and thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that you like this trip. We should definitely come back, and
until next one, au revoir.
au revoir.